Do we come to this physical experience just by accident, or do we have already an assigned purpose? How do you deal with the background that you face when you are born? Those are two of the questions that can be summarized or that can be explained in the book, in the chapter 1 of Cultivating a New Generation, which is behind me. And that's what we are going to talk about. How much of the background do we carry when we are born? How much of our background do we have due to the epigenetics that we are constantly imbuing ourselves? And we have a lot of signals, emotions, and of course environmental things that are happening inside of us. A journey that for all of us begins in the utero, and that's where we have the intention to come to this place. That's where the soul begins the journey and starts forming all of these cells that starts growing, and the organs, and then the systems, of course, and everything inside of that heart beating starts to form and starts to pick up the signals. So everything in this physical experience is made up of those also epigenetics messages that you are receiving through your parents. That's why it's very important that couples have a good relationship, mostly when they are being pregnant, in the journey of pregnancy, because they are passing all the information to their children. And in spite of that, many of that information that comes from the emotional baggage or your lifestyle will pass on through these epigenetic marks and through these emotional messages that are being saved in your DNA. So everything that you decided in your 20s or 30s is going to build up until you create a threshold. And that threshold and that information is the one that is going to pass along to more than 3 generations. That's why also in your children, you can simply just watch them and they have characteristics of your parents or your grandparents. That's why, because those generations also are being absorbed in the terms of the emotions, in the terms of the messages, in the terms of the epigenetics. That's why we have to be very careful of every decision that we are making. Right now, every day, in spite of any circumstances that we can have externally, we are choosing our lives every single day. And we are becoming better or worse in terms of each of the decisions, in terms of each of the small details that we are just taking into account to decide whether to eat poorly, to not do exercise, to not sleep, to really just imbue ourselves in information that is toxic for us. All of those decisions are going to lead to a chronic disease. That's the idea of waking up into a new world, into a new system, that everyone has a background. Everyone has been struggling with certain kind of emotions from your parents, from your past, from any kind of teacher, any kind of environmental signal that you receive. You are working with that. And if you didn't let it go, if you didn't reflect on that, if you didn't do the work to really pass along that information out from your system, you are choosing again to replicate that kind of information, to concentrate the chemical substances and the environment that you are creating inside of you to really become more toxic. And nowadays, we can see what we have done with all the energy that we are throwing into the universe, that we are sending, that we are vibrating. The lower we vibrate, the more we are going to attract the kind of things that are happening in last year and throughout this year. So the more we clean ourselves and the more we take responsibility of the things that we have to do in very simple things, like listening to something that makes you feel powerful, not that disempower you, that you are watching things that make you feel also good, that make you produce good substances, not toxic substances. Not spend too much time in social media that is just comparing you with other people and priming you into a world that is designed to allow you to produce toxic emotions and toxic chemicals. So all of each small decisions is counting for your future, and it's going to count for the kind of DNA, for the kind of genetic material that you have, because it is going to be clean and it is going to produce quality proteins, or you will produce toxic proteins which in the end will lead to a chronic disease. So it is our future, it is the future of our children, it is the future of the children of your children's. So we are constantly evolving in that kind of spiral that we are building. So the idea is to become more conscious of every single decision that we take, whether it seems small or not. Just question, is it going to make me feel better? Is it going to make me grow? Is it going to make me expand? Or is it going to make me feel disempowered? Is going to be toxic? Is going to lead me into an emotional state where I am being primed into fear, into whatever emotion, toxic emotion? Question those things and decide. Let yourself have time for the decisions. You don't have to be in the hamster wheel all the time. There is no more that world. We are stepping into a new world where reflection is going to be the key asset for people that want to expand and keep growing into the next direction, or stay in the automatic pilot, in the default mode, and keep constantly watching and building for toxic things. Thank you very much. If you want to go deeper into this kind of information and how can we create a really new generation, just buy the book. It's the link there. It's now on offer in Amazon, and you can start reading the first chapter. In the first chapter, I talk about all the emotional baggage that people carry and how men and women deal with it in a different way. That's the idea of empowering ourselves to go beyond the simple things and to start accumulating good decisions. Thank you for watching. Julie, Lamorla, Dan, Paul, thank you very much for your attention. And if you like and it resonates with you, please help me to share the message. Have a wonderful Tuesday and beginning of the month. Thank you. Bye.